Mac Girl Magic Live is live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Let's call it episode. I mean, it's kind of not a TV show, but joining us for another conversation. Let's put it that way. Welcome, everybody. As you're coming in, tell us, hey, drop your name in the live chat. If you go to ICHS currently, or you used to go to Immaculate, that's fine. Tell us your name. Tell us what house you are in. Big up to all of the Rose of Lima folks. Just saying. But welcome. I'm Carrie Ann Stimson. I am not only an Immaculate alum, but I am also a member of the ICHS Alumni Association's Jamaica chapter, because this is where I live. And I'm the big sister officer. And welcome to another awesome conversation that we have planned. Mac Girl Magic Live. We're going to be talking about careers, right? Career talk. And what I've called non-traditional careers, right? And yes, welcome everybody. Drop your name in the chat. Tell us where you're watching us from, and tell us which Immaculate house you are or were in. We're happy to have you here. So this is the reason why we're having this conversation. I know for most of us, or probably not most, certainly a good amount of us when we were in high school, probably with all the best intentions, we were told that there are only certain careers that you need to pick because, hey, those are the ones that probably were more stable, probably paid you the big money. But while that may be true in some respects, for those of us who are alums, we have grown beyond that, and we've realized that there is really a huge world of opportunity as it pertains to things that you can do as a career, right? And I said, let's bring and have a conversation together. We got the request, and we have a lot of Immaculate alums who are doing their thing in the wide world of living, work, adulting, right? And some of us probably still just trying to figure it out. But I said, let's bring on some alums who are doing amazing things in their careers in what probably could be construed as non-traditional careers, to have a conversation and tell us what they do, how they got into it, what did they do to enter that career field, and what's the biggest up and the lowest low of being a part of that career. So we have a super panel of awesome alums who are going to be sharing with us today. Each will probably be sharing in no more than maybe 5, max 10 minutes about their particular field. Just to let you know that this session is being recorded, and you can watch it again if you missed anything. But in the meantime, be sure to call, message, WhatsApp, text, tell your family, your friends. It doesn't just have to be Immaculate students who's watching this. Tell them to come on board and watch and join and be part of the conversation. And please drop your questions in the live chat and be a part of the conversation. All right. So yes, here we go. So first of all, I have an awesome co-host who is going to join me right now on camera. And let me bring her up. She is our newly selected head girl, Janae Barrett. Hey, Janae.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm really excited to be here.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, Janae is our brand new head girl for the upcoming school year. So she's busy. Plus, you're in what grade, Janae?
I'm in grade 12, so lower
Grade
form.
lower 6, grade 12. So that means you got first year CAPE going on right about now. And I know
Right,
mommy says you've been studying late at night. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate
right. My
your taking
pleasure.
the time. Great. So I am going to hand over to Janae, who is going to introduce our very first awesome alum. She is amazing, guys. And I'm going to shut up and not spoil the surprise. Hey, Jason, welcome. Yeah, man, Jason coming to cheer on his lovely wifey. Welcome, Jason. Thanks for joining. Saying hey in the chat. Go, honey. We're not going to tell you who the honey is until we introduce her. But yes, hi everybody. Welcome again. Remember, drop your questions in the live chat. Drop your name in the live chat. The house that you were in if you're an alum, or you are in if you're a current ICHS student. And we look forward to a great conversation. So Janae, over to you for our first guest.
Okay, so our first panelist, is Miss Racine Hamilton, and she's a makeup artist. So, guys, make her feel welcome in the chat.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Thank you
Yes,
for having me.
thank you so much. Okay, so our first question is, what really led you to this career field?
So, I've always liked makeup because I used to be a dancer. So, I used to have to do makeup. Um, but I never ever thought, well, I don't think I ever thought that I would have become a makeup artist. I studied tourism. So I thought that I would be working in tourism. I have a degree in that. But while I was in university, I actually was practicing makeup artistry and I started doing weddings. And I realized that in about third year that maybe I don't want to work for somebody, I want to work for myself. And that's kind of when I made that transition into saying, okay, I could probably do this full time. And that's where I started to do makeup full time.
Wow, that's really nice. That's really nice. All right, our next question is like, who do you think is the best person to be a makeup artist? Like, what kind of characteristics do they need to have?
Okay, I know a lot of people would probably first say like artistic or creative, which is very important, but I
Right,
don't think you need to be like somebody that did really well in art. I did pretty average, maybe below average in art. But I was artistic in terms of performing arts. So even though I didn't technically use my hands to draw, now I'm drawing on people's faces. So I think yes, having some sort of art my experience or love helps, but
right,
it's not absolute. You have some people that take up a brush, never done a day of art in their life, and they are good at it. They have that natural knack for it. But there is also the part of like the psychological part in terms of I think you're an entrepreneur, so you know the general characteristics that are necessary to I think withstand entrepreneurship, but I think also being a people person to some degree is also important because it's a lot of people a lot of the time. I'm specifically a bridal artist, so that's a lot of people at one given time.
right.
So I think having and I'm not somebody that loves to be around people all the time. I do have that time when I will go back and kind of recharge, but I don't mind it and I like contributing to that person. But I think anybody could be a makeup artist. But if you wanted to nitpick at what characteristics would fit them, those are some that I would recommend.
Okay, I agree. All right, so what's really like the best thing about being a makeup artist? Like, what's your favorite part of the job? I'd really love to know.
Okay, so since I do bridal mostly, but I think overall I love contributing to that person's big day. Like I love the fact that I enhance them and make them feel even better about themselves. Um, just strengthen that confidence in them, make them feel like I love the fact that when I'm finished with them, the first thing they say is, you know, this is exactly what I imagined to look on our wedding day. And the fact that I can contribute to that or be a part of that and it's such an integral part of their life. I think that's just amazing. And just having them feel more beautiful or more confident in themselves. Yeah, I think for me, that is the greatest, I guess, yeah, that is the greatest thing about being a makeup artist.
Right, I can imagine that must be really rewarding for you.
Really, right.
Right.
Mhm.
And with that being said, what's the most challenging or difficult part of being a makeup artist?
Um, hmm. So as I said, you know, being an entrepreneur comes with its normal challenges of having to kind of be head cook and bottle washer, so having to do everything. And I think
Right.
especially if you're artistic, you generally shy away from like, you know, accounting and that kind of thing sometimes, which I am very type A, but that does not mean that I can do accounting. I may have done MOB, but I'm not accounting aligned at all. So things like trying to let go and understanding that other people might need to do things for you. But in terms of like the actual job itself, I think it's trying to manage how you handle persons. There's different personalities. So it's a way to listen to persons, take constructive criticism, and be able to know make the corrections to actually give the person what they want, and realizing that it's not a personal attack on you or your craft, it's just what they want, and that's okay.
Right. People are gonna have different opinions for
Right.
sure. Okay, and that's basically it for our first guest. Guys, in the chat, please thank Miss Racine Hamilton. I'm sure anybody in the chat who wants to be a makeup artist would have learned a little something about the field. And with that being said, we're going to move to our second guest, and that is Miss Catherine Pinnock, and she's an executive chef and food services manager. Good afternoon. Oh, I'm not hearing you. All right, not sure what's going on. I'm not hearing you.
Okay, right. Because we're not seeing Catherine as muted. So I'm not sure. Maybe Catherine, just check your settings real quick and make sure that your microphone as you're selected in your settings. Guys, you know technology, right? But thank you so much while we continue to support Catherine just to make sure that her microphone in the settings is working. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Again, if you are a current or past student of ICHS, drop your name, tell us where you're watching us from, and the name of your house, your ICHS house, in the chat. Say hi. If you're not an immaculate student, any at all, never have, never was, not is, that's fine. Welcome. Say hi. And just the same, tell us hello. Welcome. We thanks for joining us. And if you have a question, guys, please drop it in the chat as well so that we can try and get to as many questions as possible. Any luck, Catherine? Because maybe what we could do is continue to. Catherine, are you there now? Because no. Mm-mm.
No, we can't hear
No,
you.
still not hearing you yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and jump to the next guest and see if we can troubleshoot a little bit more and then take it from there because we have more guests coming into the studio as we move one at a time. So, all right. So let's bring, who is our next guest, Janae?
Okay, so our next panelist is Kellyanne Dixon Hamill, and she's a university
Hi.
lecturer and statistician. Sorry.
No worries. Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, Janae. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Kelly.
All right. So our first question for you is, what led you to choose this career field?
It was something I could do.
Oh,
I
okay.
actually, so it all came out of A level geography, which had four parts to it: map reading, physical geography, population geography, and human geography, and then statistics. And I was the only person in the class who could do the statistics homework. And they were like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just followed the instructions." So I figured that was a way to go.
Oh, and actually, when you think statistics, you think math. So I'm actually shocked that you thought that you said geography.
I know. So I was introduced to statistics more
Right.
through geography because
Oh,
we did
really?
all right, because there was the collection of the data, there was representing the data. It was all part of the A level geography syllabus.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yes, you kind of have to like math, though. Yes, that is
Right.
important.
Right. Okay. All right. So what did you do like education or training wise to get into this career?
So, when I left Immaculate, actually, I took a gap year and I did a diploma in computer programming, which helped me later on. And then I went in and I did a double major in statistics and economics at the University of the West Indies. Got some work experience, then went and did a master's in statistics. Got some more experience, and then went and did a PhD in statistics.
Okay. All right. So who do you think, like, what kind of person do you think is best suited for this role? Like, what kind of
Well,
characteristics do they need to have?
one, you kind of have to like math. There's no if and or but about that.
Of course.
And then one of the parts of it too is even though math tends to be very structured, yes, but you have to be able to think critically about your data and figure out what is going to work best, whether it's representing the data or analyzing the data. You have to love to practice. And as a university lecturer, part of the life that I have, also being willing to engage with students and listen to students and hear their thoughts and their questions, and also not be afraid of questions that you can't answer or you
Right.
do not yet know the answer
The
to.
answer, of course. Okay. All right. So, what's the best thing about working as a university lecturer?
Best thing about working as a university lecturer is the flexibility in time. And that's something that I realized I wanted after my first set of work experience, that I liked my flexibility. If it is that I am going to, because part of it is research. And if I'm on and popping at 2 a.m., then that's when the work is going to get done and I can push it. I just need to ensure, of course, that I'm there for classes and meetings and whatever. But apart from that, I have that flexibility. So I enjoy the flexibility.
Right. And that's something that not a lot of careers actually offer. So, that's a
Very.
big pro. Right. And with that being said, what's the most difficult or challenging thing about working as a university lecturer?
For me, it's not being able to necessarily turn off. So a number of persons are able to go to work. We do a 9 to 5, we're done, we come home, the work doesn't come home with us. But as a university lecturer, because you're teaching, you're doing research, the work tends to come home with you. And so it's learning how to turn off everything else so that you can be at home, relax, chill, and breathe, and then come again for the next round.
Right, right. That's very true. Even though you have, the time flexibility, you still have to carry some other work home. Right.
Yes.
All right. So that's basically it. Thank you so, so much.
Thank
All
you
right.
too.
Yes. Guys in the chat, please give it up for Miss Kellyanne Dixon Hamill. She's a university lecturer and statistician. So please just shout her out in the chat.
All right. Thank you very, very much. All right. So, guys, we're really loving this conversation. I think we're getting some great nuggets. So, we've heard from our makeup artists so far. We've heard from university lecturer. I mean, I'll just confess, stats, when I did stats, it was just disastrous, right?
I agree. As much as how I love math, I really don't like statistics at
I've
all.
heard
I
that
agree.
before.
Yeah. So big up yourself, Kelly. Trust me. So much, Kelly. Janae, I know that let's see if we can try Kathy again. Because I
Okay.
know Kathy was having some challenges getting on. Well, audio challenges rather. She got on, but we weren't really hearing her. But let's see if we can bring back Kathy. Kathy, let's see. Can we hear you now? Can you try again? I know you're not muted. Kathy? Is Kathy hearing us?
Can you hear us?
Doesn't look like she's hearing us at all. Oh, she was trying to join on another. Okay, I know what it is. Hi, Kathy. Okay, all right. So let's keep moving while we continue to work out Kathy's challenges. Guys, technology, can't live with it sometimes, but we can't live without it. That's for sure. So we are going to move on to our next guest. Janae, all right.
Okay. All right. So our next guest is Tracy Ann Brown, and she actually practices Chinese medicine. So I'm really excited for this one because I want to go into medicine, and I'm not really sure what Chinese medicine entails. So hopefully we'll hear some more about it.
Okay, it looks like we lost Tracy. We put her on, but we lost her. So let us keep moving. Because guys, we're gonna make progress tonight. Don't worry about it. We'll let technology stop an awesome conversation. Just want to acknowledge the people who have been coming back to us and saying hi in the chat. Hey Aiden, how you doing? Yes, Catherine's food is fantastic, so we're anxious to hear from her. Very, very shortly. Hey Angel. Hey Barbara. Thanks so much for joining. Much appreciated. Kadisha! How you doing, Kadisha? Yes, and Razine has entered the chat, guys. So if you have any questions for our makeup artist who is already gone, then please go ahead. Please drop your questions in the live chat. Don't worry about it. We will make it happen and we will respond. So let's see if we can bring back up Tracy again. Here is Tracy. Hi, Tracy. Let's see
Good
if we can hear you.
afternoon. Yes, we
Yay!
can hear you.
Yay, wonderful. Hi, guys.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
All right, so just to go again, this is Tracy Ann Brown, and she practices Chinese medicine.
Mhm.
So our first question is, what really is Chinese medicine? For those of us
Excellent
who don't
question.
know.
So, Chinese medicine is a practice of acupuncture and Chinese herbal medicine. So, I know some of you may have heard of acupuncture before. Acupuncture is the insertion of very thin needles in different points on the body to treat a number of different health conditions.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what really led you to this field? Like, how did you discover it?
You know, when I think and reflect on that question, because I get asked that a lot, um, I really wonder sometimes myself. What I would say is I started off with an interest in healthcare and just providing care for people. And I've had that interest since I was really young, since as early as first form, even prep school. I remember that about myself. And then along the way, I discovered Asian culture, Chinese culture, and somewhere in sixth form, I became aware of Chinese medicine. At the time, I didn't think of it as something I want to study or consider my profession. But I did hear of Chinese medicine somewhere in sixth form in my university days, and in fact, I did my bachelor's in computer science at UA. So that was not on my radar. But by the time I'd finished UA, I had pretty much decided this is what I wanted to do.
Okay. All right. So, like, who do you think is the person that would be best suited for this kind of career? Like, what kind of characteristics do they need to possess?
I think I would say, compassion is one of the key characteristics. I mean, certainly from an academic point of view, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of memorization, it's a lot of in any kind of medical practice, a certain amount of insight and a little bit of detective work as well to work out what is going on with your patient and
Of
really come up with the best assessment as to how to treat. So there's that. And then, of course, there's the element of understanding and knowing where all your acupuncture points are because they're close to 1,000 acupuncture points. And then there are the herbals, and you have to know, you have to learn that and understand it and know how to use it. So there's that academic skill that is necessary. But I think even beyond that is just a care for persons and really wishing them well and want to see them well.
Okay, all right. So that brings me to our next question, which is,
Mhm.
what's the best thing about working in your field?
Hmm. Well, there are quite a few. So there is the joy when people do get better. So a little background, most of my patients come to me for pain management. Some come in for all
Okay.
kind of things, migraines, infertility. So Chinese medicine treats a number of issues, a wide range of issues, cardiovascular issues, respiratory issues, any number of issues.
Right.
But the greatest joy for me is when persons get better, feel that it's been positive and it's enhanced their life. And, not necessarily a part of the profession and the work of Chinese medicine, but also just the relationships I build with my patients. Invariably, because people have to come in, for a few sessions, we build rapport, we build relationships, and I do feel that that kind of connection serves them well as it serves me well, because it's always great to kind of talk with people, hear about people's lives, kind of share with each other, even though it's their session. um, but I do enjoy that part the most, and I often get a very good laugh when I'm in there chatting with my patients, and so do they. So it's
Right. I
really
can imagine.
really enjoy my time at work.
Yes, of course. All right. And what's the worst part or the difficult part of being or practicing Chinese medicine?
Well, the difficult part of practicing Chinese medicine, and perhaps any medicine, is patients who are terminally ill, and especially when they're children. That's perhaps the worst part.
Right. I can imagine that, of course.
But then the truth is, part of the training is what to do when you have a patient who's terminal, and assisting a patient to to go with dignity, to make it to that final stage, and you do what you have to do as part of what you do. So, but it's always it's the most difficult part.
Okay, I understand that. And you kind of have to build up yourself and know how to detach from that, because I'm sure that can take a strain on you when you have all of those patients who are terminally ill.
You can, but there are ways, and you work out how to do it.
Right, of course.
Mm.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Guys in the chat, please give it up for Miss Camille Flynn. She is, I'm
Woohoo!
sorry, Miss Tracy Ann Brown.
Yes.
Yes, sorry. She's,
We have a long list
we have
here.
a long list. Yes, she practices Chinese medicine. So please thank her in the chat.
My
Awesome.
pleasure.
Thanks so much, Tracy. Tracy
You're
was
welcome.
we're oh, by the way, guys, none of us as alums on this live, we're telling what year we graduate from
I
Immaculate. I'm
noticed.
just saying.
I
I mean,
noticed, but I did recognize Kelly.
right. I
I
mean,
think she was
if
here.
any of them want to, they can, but I know I'm not, and I'm not forcing anybody. Tracy was the year ahead of me at Immaculate, but we're not saying what year that was. I'm just saying. And then Tracy's younger sister, Nicole, was in my year at Immaculate, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yes.
so we've known each other, and Tracy was one of those alums when I sent out the call for alums in non-traditional careers. Tracy was one of the first people who raised her hand and kept following up with me. When are we doing this live? When are we doing this live? So Tracy, I have to give you an extra special big up for volunteering and being quick out the gate with volunteering and wanting to be a part of this conversation. Yes, see, Razi, no, come shame where I'm putting at the chat says she's 2010. Come on, guys. Yeah,
These
so
young people.
we have some young and not so young alums on the live, but hey, I think we all look fab. So, just say.
Yes, of course.
And Janae is the one laughing at everybody because I'm still a student. Nah, nah, nah. So, yeah, Janae is a baby. So, that's fine. But thanks again, Tracy. Much appreciate your participation. So, Tracy, if she's able, Tracy, we invite you to engage on YouTube directly as yourself. If there are any questions in the chat, guys, please drop it. Again, welcome. We're just going to pause and
Sure.
welcome everybody to Matt Girl Magic Live. We're having a conversation today. The topic is we're talking careers, but we're talking what I've been calling non-traditional careers. Anything that is not law and med, with all due respect. Big up to the lawyers and the doctors around the place, or the traditional doctors around the place. But, we're having a conversation about other career paths that students can take. And yes, this is Mac Girl Magic Live. It's for ICHS students, but if you don't go to Immaculate, never went to Immaculate, will never go to Immaculate, that's fine. You can be a part of this conversation. Some of us are still trying to figure out this career thing. It's all good. Everybody got greatness in them. So please join, listen, drop your question in the chat, say hello. If you're Immaculate connected, went to Immaculate, go to Immaculate, tell us your name, where you're watching from, and what house you're in. Big up Rose of Lima. Jenny, what house you in?
I'm in tech, the best house ever.
Tech? Okay.
Yeah,
I
the
keep
best.
having tech guests. I
The
mean, my
best.
last ICHS co-host was at Techawitan as well. What's going on? Tracy, what house were you in?
You know,
Wasn't
Franciscan.
it Fran? Yes, it was Franciscan. I
Franciscan.
remember. Yes,
Yes, I wasn't
Franciscan.
always very thrilled about it, but we
Hush.
enjoyed ourselves over there.
Of course, you have to make your own fun. So big up to the
Of
Rosa
course.
Lima, Tex, and France. Razine, tell us in the chat. Oh, you were in Davidica. Okay, Razine was in Davidica. Kelly, tell us in the chat what house you were in. We should have been asking all along. For real, for real, for real. So great. Thanks so much, Tracy. All the best. So let us try again with poor Kathy, who has been trying to get in. I don't know. Kathy, how you stay?
I think I'm good now.
Oh, yes, we can hear you.
Woo! Let me bring up Kathy's career. So let me back out and see how we can do a proper introduction again, or reintroduce Kathy again, and I will take myself away. Go over to you again, Janae. Thank you.
Okay, so our next panelist, everyone, is Catherine Pinnock. She's an executive chef and food services manager. That's really interesting. Yes, of course. Guys, big up in the chat. Okay, so good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, all right. So our first question is, what really led you to choose this career field?
Um, Actually, my grandmother was a food and nutrition teacher on my mother's side,
Wow.
and my mother, from I was a young, from I was little, I used to enjoy being with my mother in the kitchen, and we actually had a Disney cookbook back in the day. From before I could even read, the Disney cookbook had the pictures of what you were supposed to put in the items. So
Oh
it would
wow.
show you like little mound of flour, a stick of butter, and two eggs. So I used to use the pictures when they left us alone. Well, I mean, somebody was supposed to be watching us, but I would take out the book and mix the things together. Of course, I didn't understand how to use the stove or the oven, but I would somehow manage to get it on. And I remember doing that from I was like 3, 4. I'm burning up a whole batch of some cookies and
Oh my
throwing them away and hiding them when I saw my mother driving. So I've been interested in food from a very young age.
right. Wow. Wow. That's really interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that at all. I wonder if they still make like those kind of books because I personally would want that if I was a little girl. You know, like you can't read it, so you have
Yeah,
them
but you
and you
can
can follow
use it.
along with the recipes.
Yes.
Yes, of course. All right. So, what did you do education or training wise to reach where you are today?
Okay, firstly, I did food and nutrition in fourth and fifth form. I also think that Miss Rennick was, I think, her name at the time. She
Yep,
was
she's still here.
right. She was very instrumental to me moving into the food. There were also probably three others of us in the class of 7 who went into the food industry. So that started. I started there first. Then I went to UTech. I did a diploma in culinary arts. No, in culinary management. Then I went to Johnson and Wales in Rhode Island, where I did a degree, a bachelor's of science in culinary arts. While in school and working, I decided that I really liked baking. So when I came back home from Johnson and Wales, I went back to UTech and did the certificate program in baking technology part time, where I learned focus more on breads, sugar work, art craft, and things like that. And since then, continuous education and other little programs that I see around the place with persons who are doing anything. And so that was my career. That was my educational background in culinary.
Okay, all right. So, who do you think is the person, or what kind of person do you think is best suited for this kind of job?
Uh, Somebody who doesn't really want to go out, and somebody, because this field is very, very time consuming. It's when all your friends are out at party, Independence, Christmas, New Year's. Those are the times when you make money. So there's no Christmas party, there's no family Christmas dinner, there's nothing like that. So you have to know what you want, and that it has to be something that you enjoy, because you're going to miss a lot of these things that most people really look forward to.
Right, these milestones, and I can imagine that must be one of the more difficult parts of your job.
Yeah, birthdays, Christmas, you miss pretty much everything.
Everything. Okay. All right. And what's the best part of your job then?
Um, Seeing satisfied customers when you cook something and they come out, wow, it was awesome. You do a wedding and the bride and the groom or the clients come in and say, no, the food was really good. They loved how it looked, the taste, the presentation, the food was hot and nice. That really keeps you going, because after you work 12 hours and people were like, whoa, food was good. They want to take a picture of the chef, things like that. That's what really keeps you going.
Right. Of course. Of course. Of course. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. In the chat, please give it up for Catherine Pinnock. She's an executive chef and food services manager.
All right. Hey, Kathy. So, Kathy, what house are you in? We asked Kathy that question yet?
Rosalima!
Woohoo! Freedom! Hey, all the Rosalimans in the house. Show yourself. All right, great. Thank you so much, Kathy, for jumping on board. Kathy was one of those people that I called out, help! Can you join? And see, we had a little bit of tech challenges, but hey, that's how it is with technology, right? We just got to keep it moving. Welcome to everybody who's been joining us in the chat. Welcome, Stephen, Janet Patrick, I know that name. Welcome, Janet. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate your support. As usual, much appreciated. Somebody's asking a question in the chat about where we can find Tracy. So, Tracy, if you are able to answer in the live chat on YouTube, we'd appreciate it. Or if you want to just message me on the phone, I can try and answer it from here. Whatever, we'll make it work. Don't worry. Jandy, we're gonna try and get a response to you. We love the questions. Yes, please, guys, keep the questions coming, and we have another wonderful guest. Now we can say that her husband was the first person to comment in the live chat. No, he did not go to Immaculate, but I am going to bring her up right now because we love the hubbies who are cheering on the wives. Isn't that sweet? Lovely. So, Jenny, I'm going to shut up and hand back over to you.
All right. So, guys, our next panelist is actually also in the food services industry. She is Camille Flynn, and she's a sugar artist. So, one that I'm really excited to interview today. All right. So,
hi, Jenny, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. My absolute pleasure. My name is Camille Flynn. I'm from the class of 94. And I am a proud Immaculatan. I'm true blue. I'm not pink. I'm blue. Yes.
Okay. All right. So at least there's not another pink.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So our first question is, what led you to choose this career field?
Well, to be honest, Jenny, this career chose me. Like you, I'm sure, at Immaculate, I did all sciences, straight sciences. And I also wanted to do art. But in my day, the ninth subjecting wasn't the easiest thing to do, so I didn't do art. And but however, when I was there, I used to paint for my friends, and even getting older, I did murals. I was always very good with my hands. My mom is a baker, so she did every birthday cake for me. So I grew up and saw that. I was a flight attendant, and then I was made redundant when Air Jamaica moved over to Cal. So I really had nothing to do. The flight attendant hours are so nice and flexible. I said to my husband, I said, I can't do a 9 to 5. I just didn't know what to do. So I had a party for my little son, Jude, and I wanted a bespoke cake, a custom cake. And I said, Mommy, my mother can bake. I can try and do a thing here too. So I tried it. And from there, the parents were like, girl, you did this. And that's where my business started. So it's actually my testimony. I tell everybody all the time that you think one door closes and there's nowhere else for you to go. And then the Lord just opens
another one.
Massive. Yes, it's massive one for you.
Of course. So did you do anything like education or training wise, or are you just gifted to be a sugar artist?
I'm telling you, it's my God-given talent. I've had no formal training. I mean, of course, my mom was very integral in all of this.
Right.
As I said, I had an artistic base in high school as well. So when she had her character or custom cakes to do, she'd say, boy, Camille, come and draw a door for me now, or come and do this. So that's where I had my taste of cake. And that's how this all started.
And you learned all your sugar art from her as well?
Well, Mommy would say that she's the foundation, and then I just took it up quite a few levels,
Okay,
As I said, I think you need to have an artistic base to be able to really understand and appreciate doing this.
Okay. And besides having like an artistic base, what are some of the other characteristics that somebody who might be interested in pursuing this field needs to possess?
Well, there's also the technical aspect of it, So it's not really, I would say though that a graphic designer, a sculptor, a painter, any of those creatives, even photographers, once you have that eye, because it's to create that vision, you can get the same brief that I get to do a handbag cake. But because of my vision, it may come out a little, I may be able to express myself a little better than you. So I do think you really need to have that artistic element in order to get going with this. But there's a technicality of it too. So, don't knock yourself out. Don't knock yourself out of this game. Once you get formal training, it's just the inspiration that will now see you through.
Right, of course, of course.
Mhm.
And what's the best thing about being a sugar artist?
Wow, there's so many different facets to this. Remember, I I get invited to everybody's birthday parties in one way or the other, right? And I can to monetize this. It really is beneficial to me because there's somebody born every day. There are weddings, there are anniversaries, there are christenings, there are showers, so many things, and I get to be a part of it. I get to be a part of it all. So that's very important to me. The flexibility for me personally, the hours. I understand when Catherine was speaking about not being able to be a part of special events, but you do, in essence, end up being a part of the special event. So
Right,
I
okay.
love that. And my hours are flexible. I'm not a 9 to 5 girl. I knew that from, in my early 20s. And so this has facilitated that comfort zone for me.
Okay, of course. And with that being said, what are some of the more challenging aspects of being a sugar artist?
It's really the medium itself, the sugar. Sugar is hygroscopic, it loves moisture. So you see, I can hear the rain falling outside.
Right,
This is not a good sugar day because it absorbs the moisture and it starts to get really wet and it won't stand up because you want just you're making sculptures out of sugar. So if I were a sculptor using clay, I just throw that in my kiln and I'm good. This now I have to stay in a controlled environment most of the time, all of the time. So my AC, yeah, so JPS is happy. JPS is happy with people like me. Okay, I constantly have to have on my AC in order to keep the structures up, and then the transportation time. Now you have to try and keep it as short as possible so that you can get your piece, or you can get your cake there in one piece.
right, of course.
So yeah, so
And
climate is the biggest thing, and also sourcing my materials. Amazon is my best friend because
mine
because
too.
the
Mine
market, yeah, right, girl.
too.
Because the market out here is not conducive to what we do.
Right, it's very
You have to be
limited.
outsourcing. So yeah, so
Of
you find
course,
that you really have to have your things set here, even if you don't need them, because if you get a last minute request, you want to still be able to facilitate that particular order. So
of
it
course.
really is the investment is heavy there. But apart from that, it's just the joy of seeing, when people are, the cake is the centerpiece. You can't have a party without a cake. It's just
Of
not a
course.
thing,
It's not a
right?
thing at all. At all. I
No.
agree. I agree. All right. Thank you so much, Miss
My
Camille Flynn.
pleasure.
She is a sugar artist. Guys, give it up in the chat.
Woohoo! Man, Camille look fabulous, So Camille, you were in my sister's ear, right? At Immaculate.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
and
Alicia
Camille
and
has not
I.
barely aged a day. Camille look the same smile. She always
I
had the
shouldn't have
same
given my ear. I
smile.
should not have given the ear. I
Big
don't know
up
why I did
yourself,
that.
girl. You look good. You look good.
Thanks. Thank you.
And yes, big up hubby Jason in yay,
Love you,
Man
Jay.
Jason.
I love you, Jay.
Oh, and I know Jason from high school too. No, Jason didn't go to Immaculate, but I used to buck up
No.
Jason every now and again around the
Yes.
neighborhood. Thank you so much for Camille for joining and for
No
answering the call
problem.
to share. And
Yes.
yeah, so Camille is got and we got Camille's house, right? Immaculata.
Yes,
Of
Immaculata.
course, Immaculata.
Okay, big up to Immaculata. Yes, if you're on Immaculata, drop it in the chat. And yeah, we appreciate you, Camille. So Camille will be around if she's able to join on YouTube in the live chat to answer any questions. I'm sure she'll be happy to do that. So
I
thanks
will.
again, Camille. We are gonna move on.
Okay, our next guest is Miss Marishka K. Massey, and she's a graphic designer and brand identity specialist. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. Hi. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm still at work, but I'm great.
Okay, awesome.
Mhm.
All right, so what really led you into this field?
Well, when I was younger, I actually loved advertising. More videos, but I loved advertising and marketing. And I also did art at Immaculate. So I was always geared towards that in some way. So while my friends were doing more of the fine arts and illustration, I was actually in the art. I'm not sure if you still have it. In the art computer lab. I hope you
Art
still
com-
have it.
no, I
There's a
don't.
computer lab for art
I- Oh
and
no,
doing
I
graphic
don't think
design
that's
and
still there.
it's by the AV room. It's in a little. It's there. It's there. I don't think a lot of girls use it, but it's there. So I really wanted to pursue something in advertising. But I mean, it's a love of art. It's a love of drawing. It's a love of painting. It's just the love of being creative like that. That basically led like ability to just merge the two. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Right. And so, like, apart from being creative and, artistic, what are some
Mhm.
of the other characteristics that somebody who is interested in the field would need to possess?
Well, you need attention to detail.
Oh, of course, of course.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, oh, and when you're dealing with client, patience. Patience is a
Yes,
wonderful virtue.
yes,
Um, a lot of times you have to understand too that people have the idea of what they want or what their brand wants to be or what they want their brand to be. And it's important to have the patience to guide people to what you know it really should be. Because, being a graphic designer is more than just doing something on the computer. You have to know a lot about different fundamental things about design, hierarchy, color. You need to know also understand how to communicate value through your design. Because that's what you're doing. You're communicating value. You're communicating the brand needs. You're communicating the brand want. How people want their brand to be. So it's almost like building out somebody's brand in a sense and how it should be perceived to the world that people want to buy from them. So it really is a lot. It's a lot more than we think it is. It's not just Photoshop. It's
right.
having to just basically understand how even people will communicate with a product.
Okay, okay,
Mhm.
understood. And what did you do education or training wise in order to get where you are today?
Well, so I actually did international relations at UA. So I'm very far away from what I'm doing now in terms of what I did for university, but it's just a stepping stone to get to where you really want to be. I learned design actually from a friend of mine. I asked him to teach me Photoshop, and then well, better understand Photoshop because I did it at Immaculate, but it's just very basic.
Basic, right?
Right. And then because I knew I loved advertising, I ended up doing a diploma in marketing at UCC. So that's how I kind of got into that space. But I still just did little little posters and stuff like that. Nothing too fancy. I mean, I remember when I used to do flyers for people in PowerPoint. It's a very weird time in my life. But I mean, yeah. So it's just it's I did IR and then I ended up doing my diploma in marketing. But I'm really self-taught. And it's
Okay,
just doing a lot of YouTubing, reading blogs, figuring out what you want to do with a particular design, and then from there saying, "All right, cool. This is how I want to execute this, and if that is the case, this is how I need to get it done." Mhm.
right. I understand that. All right. So, and what's the best thing about working as a graphic designer?
Just seeing brands come alive, honestly, because you understand, being a graphic designer, you understand that everything that somebody touches, somebody like you had a part of. So somebody like you had to design it. Somebody like you had to basically communicate that value or communicate that product to the wider, to the masses. So it's just seeing that and seeing how impactful you are in the world. I mean, I don't think we think about it that much. But every time you pick up something, whether it's or watch some form of media, one of us had our hand in it. So that's the most amazing thing about it.
Right, of course. And
Hmm.
what's the most challenging aspect of being a graphic designer?
Well and well. So it is really when you're trying to communicate in the nicest way possible. I strongly believe that and suggest, but then you know what? It's all about, as I said, learning about how to have patience and guiding people. 'Cause a lot of
Right,
people know what they want, but they don't know what they want. If you get what I'm saying,
Right,
you
I
know you want
understand
this,
that.
right?
And
So it's really
sometimes
about
maybe they don't
Mhm.
know how to express it.
Right. So one of the things about me that I like to ask a lot of questions. I like to try to dig to that deeper need, like that secret need, that secret wants, and how, ask this, like, how do you want people to, what do you want people to think of when they think about your brand? And then I also like to have the conversation about where they want their brand to be, which channels they want to use it in, because that way I can understand exactly what they want as well. Because people always have big visions for them things, big visions for them product, big vision for their service, and it's just up to us to kind of help to make that a reality. It's just the
Right.
nicest thing to that, but it gets a little bit sometimes. But it's with every service industry. Because remember, you're taking somebody's baby and making it and actually forming it into something. So while we're here trying to do that, sometimes it can be difficult. But. Oh, and also, just as the lady that went before me, time. So being a designer is a very much a late night kind of situation. Long days. You will get lost in what you're doing. I
Oh
have
wow.
got so lost, hyper focused,
Right.
just design, and you don't know what's happening around you. It's a thing
Wow.
that happens, but it's passion. When you love something, and when you want the best for your clients,
Of
you're going to
course.
do it above and beyond.
Right. Without hesitation for sure.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Right. And I didn't get your house. Which house were you in when you were at Immaculate?
Fran.
Oh, Fran.
Man, we were just trotting out. We won something. We won swimming. We won
Yes.
swimming. And I was so proud of us. I was like, yay! The host that could. But how did you know?
Oh, I didn't know which house you were in. I
No,
didn't
how
know
are
which
they
house.
doing now? Like how
Oh,
is
they're
Fran
doing
doing?
they're doing really well. I think Fran and Rose, if I'm not mistaken, those are top
Oh,
houses now.
wow. I
Yes.
remember my time it was clear. Clear is
Oh,
clear. Yeah, man, it
Fran
was
Fran
good.
Fran is one of our tops now, of course.
I love that for us.
All right. Thank you so much for being
You're
here
very
and taking the
welcome.
time out.
No problem.
Thank you so much, Mariska. Much
You're welcome.
appreciated. So I have to big up Mariska for a couple of reasons. One is, so as I said, I'm the big sister officer, ICHS Alumni Association, and there's a lot of work to be done sometimes, right? And we needed some help to help coordinate some career talks for the grade 9 students in the guidance department. And Mariska jumped right in, showed her graphic skills, did the flyer to help with recruiting alums, and really helped to coordinate all of the alums who came in to speak to the students in person at school. So thank you so much, Mariska. And of course, I draw on her again. I said, you're in a non-traditional career. You have to be on this panel.
Very
And she
welcome,
said, yeah, man,
man.
she'll make it happen. She'll make it happen. And it's the first time I'm actually seeing her on camera because everything was just WhatsApp, WhatsApp, WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So you have a beautiful smile, by the way. Love
Thank
it.
you.
So thank you so much. I mean, this has really been a great conversation, guys. Yes, I see the engagement. Hey, Krista, Joan of Arc has entered the chat. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, Carolyn, big up Rose of Lima. Thank you, Jenny. It's really nice to know that Fran and Rose are dominating these days, right? In my time, I think it was between Tech and Claire. I want to feel like it
It was
was,
always them, but no, Fran is
yeah.
here. I am so proud. I need a shirt, guys. I need a shirt.
We're living vicariously through the current generation, right? So really appreciate it. Camille, I see you have joined in the live chat. Thank you so much, Camille, our sugar artist. Camille, some folks have been asking where and how they can find you. Mariska, do you do freelance work, by the way, or you work with a company? Because if
Well, I
you do
actually
freelance
work
work,
with
tell us how
this.
to find you too.
Okay, so I do freelance work. You can contact me on Mariska at createdbytheagency.com.
Okay.
I'll type it in the chat.
In the chat, and we
Mm-hmm.
can post it there. So if anybody wants to reach out to Mariska and to all of our other panelists, please do the same. Join the conversation on YouTube, so that we can know how to find you if it is you want people to engage you. That's not a problem at all. So thank you so much, Mariska. Much appreciate your participation.
Yes,
So
thank
we're
you
gonna
so much.
move on to our next guest. But you know what, Janae, I want to pick out some themes that we've been picking up in these conversations. And I
Okay.
love the fact that they're coming out, because I would love to make sure that all of the students, again, whether you went to Immaculate, you go to Immaculate or not, I think the themes that I'm picking up are interesting. One is that probably in most of the cases I've been picking up what they studied in school, aka the subjects they did at CSEC level, or it was CXC or in some of our times, or what they did in their degree at UE, have nothing to do with what they're
Right,
working with right
right.
now. Right. And I think that's so liberating, because I know, and with all due respect, I think it's a feature of our Jamaican education system, where in grade 9 you have to lock down what is your
Right, you
career
have
and
to
what
know what you
subjects,
want
because
to
you have to pick
do.
your subjects to go into grade 10 and da, 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 da. And it's like, psh, no, you don't. I mean, you will have to choose subjects, because heck, you got to do subjects in something. But the fact that you have to feel that at age 13, 14, 15, you have to decide now what's going to be your trajectory for the rest of your life, that's a farce. And I think that's liberating. And I hope that people who are watching are liberated by that reality, that you don't have to, what, yeah, you're choosing subjects now, or you have to choose subjects now. It's not going to determine the trajectory for the rest of your life. Some people are in the field quite by accident, because they just found something they love. So again, you don't need to necessarily figure it all out by the time you're 18, 19, 20, or even 21. I love the fact that Mariska says she's self-taught as a graphic designer. She didn't do a degree in graphic design.
Right.
She's self-taught, and I know that came out in a couple of the other conversations, where you just find that you're passionate about something. Maybe your mom has influenced you, a family member. You see something on TV that look interesting, and you try your hand at it. There are so many ways to discover your passion and a career that truly is a right fit for you. And it's really just about being able to open up your mind to that and know that you will find your path. Just be open. And whatever it is you're doing, recognize that it just requires a lot of elbow grease, a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice. But it really is just amazing to be able to know that you can find your path, and there are many paths and many ways to get to a destination. So I don't know, what are some of the things you've been picking up as a student, Janae?
Right, that is one of the biggest ones that I've picked up so far. And actually, one of the when I asked them what's the most challenging aspect about the job, a lot of them said time, and missing some of the important milestones. And that's actually, it kind of is a similarity with some of the traditional career paths, such as medicine in particular. You're going to have to miss some of those big milestones of family members, friends, in order to do your job. But at the end of the day, if you have a passion for it, I'd say go for it. You look at all of these people, they're leaders in their fields. So it does pay off, although you have to make some sacrifices.
Indeed, indeed. And I'm glad you're picking that up, because it really is just wonderful to know that there is hope and there are ways, and we can just all find ways to make a living, earn money. Nobody we're interviewing here is living on the bus stop on the street, with all due
Of,
respect. There's
of
a way to make a living. There's a way to find your passion. You don't necessarily have to have it all figured out by the time you're 18. Just continue to work hard, do your thing, and explore options, and it will come. So this has been a great conversation so far. We have a few more guests left, so don't leave us yet, guys. Remember, this is Career Talk. We're talking about non-traditional careers. That's how I um calling it, right? Everything except traditional medicine and law, because we have touched on Chinese medicine already in this conversation. But yes, this episode is being recorded. The conversation is being recorded. So if you didn't catch the first part, don't worry. When we finish this live stream, you will be able to go back on the ICHS Alumni 876 YouTube channel to be able to view the recording of this conversation. So don't worry about it. Feel free, yes, to share the conversation with anyone who you believe would find it valuable. If you think there's some careers that you want us to cover in future conversations, guys, drop them in the chat, or if you're watching on the replay, drop them in the comments, because I'm sure we'll find an Immaculate alum who is in that field, and they would probably more than likely be happy to come on and have a conversation just like this. If you have any questions, please drop them in the live chat so that we can answer them as best as we can before we finish here. And of course, please, if you're not subscribed to the ICHS Alumni 876 YouTube channel, please subscribe. Like this video, guys. Hit that like button and share it. Hit the notification bell so that when next we go live, you will be notified, because we're going to have another chat on a different topic, but same place in a couple weeks' time, and you don't want to miss it. So thanks again for joining, and I am going to hand back over to my wonderful co-host, head girl, ICHS, Jenny. Back over to you, Jenny.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Stimson. All right, guys, our next guest is Alicia Rose Beaufort, and she's an operations manager at the Kingston Harbor. Good afternoon.
Hi, Jenny. Immaculata. Before you even
Oh,
ask,
okay.
Immaculata, best one of all of them.
Oh,
How are
I
you
think
doing?
thank you so much. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am well. Thanks. I'm so glad to be here tonight.
Yes, and thank you for being here. All right, so our first question is, what really led you to choose this field?
I kind of married into the field.
Oh, okay.
That's the most unique way of joining a career like this.
Right.
Well, I'm a manager, yes, and you know what managers generally do, manage certain pieces of information. But the operations manager for the Kingston Harbor cleanup project, um, I am the second operations manager there, but the first female operations manager that they've
Ooh,
had.
girl magic.
Girl magic, and my
Yes.
husband was the first operations manager. And as I said, I married into the field. He said that he thought I would be a great fit for something like this. And so here I am. Kingston Harbor Cleanup Project. It's a fantastic job. I really, really do enjoy it.
Right, I can imagine. All right, so what did you do? Did you do anything education or training wise in order to get into the field? Or
Um, Funny enough, I studied everything I studied in at Immaculate. One was for me to do law.
oh, okay. So you're like another person who studied something completely different.
Yes, but eventually I got into the business field. I started doing a lot of business management courses, and over time, I'm always in a managerial position, managing offices, managing operations, and so the operations manager aspect of this project was pretty much right up where I've been working in, and so yeah, we though I did history, have nothing to do with that. I'm now doing recycling. So, hey.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So with that being said, who do you think is the best kind of person for this job?
All right. So, this particular job, operations management for Kingston Harbor Cleanup Project, I have to be very specific with that because it is a project designed to rid Kingston Harbor of all the pollutants and plastics that end up in the harbor. So, we find all the gullies that you people dump trash in, they wash right out into the harbor and it damages our environment. And so somebody who is very much aware of their environment and would love to clean up our country would be a great fit for a job like this. Of course, you need to be able to manage operations, you need to be able to manage files, you need to be able to manage people, you need to be able to manage procurement. But part of my job also includes jumping on a 60-ton crane any day of the week, or a caterpillar excavator like I was doing this morning, or going up in a bucket truck, climbing up some high heights. So if you're afraid of heights, no, you cannot be in this job. Um, and you will have to be willing to love the water because I'm always on a boat somewhere out in the harbor. And so you need to have those kind of likes as a part of your managerial tool belt. But
Right.
yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity for anyone who wants to help clean the environment.
I would have never thought of that, and now I can actually see why you kept on emphasizing the Kingston Harbor aspect of it, right? That's really interesting. All right. What's the best thing about your job? Like, what do you find most rewarding or fulfilling?
Wow. Top of the list would be working with my company, Clean Harbors of Jamaica, and the Grace Kennedy Foundation. That's the top of my list. My team members are fantastic, fantastic. They are passionate about the environment. They're passionate about the recycling. They're passionate to make sure that things are going well. And when you find persons who come from, weird backgrounds, or backgrounds that are not necessarily where you would come from, and they are so willing to learn how to recycle, they are willing to say to people in their community, don't throw things in the garbage. My team is fantastic. um, and also just being able to be a part of a program that looks after the entire environment. Our oceans are being threatened by, with all the plastics, and to know that I'm a part of a project that has removed more than 500,000 pounds of plastic from Kingston's harbor
Wow,
so
that's
far
very
is a
commendable.
fantastic, fantastic job.
That's
We
awesome.
have overseas partners who are they're 7 hours ahead of us, and they are the persons who are pushing this project. They are the ocean cleanup. They too have a page. And when I'm at home at 5 p.m., it is midnight there, and they're still texting me.
Wow.
So the
Wow.
passion with the team that I'm working with, Grace Kennedy, Ocean Cleanup, and Clean Harbors Jamaica, I mean, we are fan. It is just that's the best part of the job. The best part of the job, the team and the recycling. It's great.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. And with that said, what's the most challenging aspect of your job?
Learning what is called a grease nipple. I was in a meeting, and one of the managers said to me, "Oh, we must remember to grease the nipples." As a woman, the first thing I just grabbed myself. I'm like, "What are you going to do? What
Right.
do you mean?" Only to find out there is an actual term on a boat called a nipple, and funny enough, it actually looks like a nipple. I'm sorry. It looks like a nipple, and
Right.
it's just weird learning these terminologies, but and the other challenging thing is just looking at how much trash we actually produce as a small island. We are a very small island, but the amount of trash we are producing, we are competing with some of the larger countries in the world, and that is sad. So if I could use this forum to just say to people, hey, recycle, reuse, and reduce, that's what I would really want to say to anybody who's listening.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so, so much. Guys, give it up in the chat for Miss Alicia Rose Beaufort.
All right. See you guys soon. Bye,
Thank you. Bye bye.
Carrie.
I was still on mute. Hi, Alicia. Thank
Hi,
you
Carrie.
so much for joining. Much appreciated. Well, first of all, guys, Alicia was in my year at Immaculate, but I don't think we're disclosing that year. No, thank you very much. But just needless to say, Alicia looked fabulous. She was the cutest little thing in high school. She has these deep dimples. I used to call her Dimples. She was always smiling, always. They're the same way. So when she was one of those people too. When I sent out the SOS, she volunteered willingly. Thank you so much, Alicia. And you did say your house, right? What was the house again?
The best house, Immaculata. The
Okay,
best.
all
The
right,
best. Blue
okay.
background. Don't you see the
If
blue?
you
Don't you
say
see
so. If you say so. But no, man, we pick up all of the houses, all of the houses.
it?
Super,
Big up.
super, super. There's an Andrew in the chat. Is that hubby?
Y- Yes.
Oh, I love to see all the husbands in the chat cheering along. Love it,
I
love it,
love
love it.
my Andrew Donald. He's the most
Oh,
fantastic
love
guy in
it,
the world.
love it, love it. Awesome. So great stuff, great stuff. So yes, hang around in the studio if you wish, or if you want to join the conversation live on YouTube for anybody who has any questions. Thanks again, Miss Alicia.
Thank you so much.
All right. So, who is up next? Who is coming next? Punchinella.
All
Who's the
right.
next person?
So our next guest is Renee Grant, and she's an instructional designer.
All right, let us bring up Renee.
Good
Hey, Renee.
afternoon.
Hi.
Welcome. So I'm going to hand over back to Janae and I'll step off.
Hi,
Okay, thank you.
Janae.
Hello, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. I'm happy to be here. And first of all, big up to all Rosa Lima
Oh,
girls
your Rose
on
again.
our
Wow.
online. Fun fact, Catherine, who you interviewed earlier, she was also in Rosa Lima. And she and I graduated the same year. But I'm not going to tell you what year that was. But she and I have known each other since kindergarten. So,
Wow. 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 That's really nice.
mhm.
All right. So our first question is, what is instructional design and what led you to choose this field?
So, if I could sum up instructional design in one sentence, I would just say that an instructional designer is someone who specializes in the art and science of teaching and learning using innovative teaching strategies and educational technologies. So, I discovered instructional design really on my journey of self discovery. When I was at Immaculate, I was a science student. I did biology, I did chemistry, and I went to UE and I continued doing the sciences, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so when I graduated with my bachelor's, my mom suggested teaching. Why not teach for a year, while you decide what you want to do? And that 1 year turned into 5. I enjoyed teaching. And it was while teaching I discovered, my passion for imparting knowledge to other people. And I developed an interest in technology and how technology can be used to enhance the teaching and learning process. And so then I decided to pursue a master's in instructional technology and media. And it was while pursuing my master's that I learned about the field of instructional design. And whereas I didn't want to go back into the classroom again, but I still wanted to have an impact on the learning experience of students. And so instructional design was a perfect fit because I don't have to stand in front of the class and teach. I can design a learning experience with a faculty member or, with, whatever project that I'm working on. So I get to fulfill my passion in that way.
Right. That's really nice. That's awesome. And who or what kind of person do you think would be best suited for this career?
Well, on the team that I work, the people that I work with, we come from all different backgrounds. So I come from teaching. Another colleague of mine, she was a librarian. My boss, he had a degree in filmmaking. Someone else came from coding. I mean, instructional design, you can come from, many different backgrounds. But I would say, though, that that person should have a desire to impart knowledge, whether it's traditionally like, in person, face to face teaching or online or a combination of both, or even through games, in non traditional ways of imparting knowledge, like through games or through publishing or whatever. If you have a desire for to do that, then this field might be a good fit for you. That person also has to be creative, innovative, really good communicator, loves to collaborate with other people, analytical, so many. So, Carrie had mentioned a theme running through all of the conversations where what you studied in university doesn't necessarily you use that in your current job.
Right.
So I studied biochemistry, but the skills that I learned from studying science, like critical thinking, analytical skills, communicating, oral communication, things like that, I use those skills in my job as an instructional designer.
Right. So it might not necessarily be the academic aspects of the of what you studied, but it might be the skills that you would have learned and earned along the way.
Exactly.
Right. Awesome. Okay, so what's the best thing about working in your field?
The flexibility. I can do my job online and from anywhere. So that really is a huge plus for me.
The other thing that I like about my job is working one on one with faculty members on their courses, designing really engaging learning experiences for their students. So, that one on one consultation time that I get to have with faculty is something that I really enjoy.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And with that, what's the most challenging aspect of your job?
Trying to explain what I do. Because they hear instructional designer and they're like, oh, what's that? Do you design
Right.
clothes? Do you design? No. I think I design really instruction. I'm involved in teaching and learning, and really explaining why my position is so important
Right.
in the educational landscape. So
That
that can be a challenge.
okay, I understand that. And I'm sure many of the other persons who we would have spoken to before could agree with that as well. All right. Thank you so much. Guys, give it up in the chat for Miss Renee Grant. She's an instructional designer. Thank you so
Woohoo!
much.
And
All
Kerry's
right.
cousin. She didn't say that,
I
but
was just about to say, Renee is actually my cousin. She's my little cousin. So, of course, I rope her into this conversation because when I say, okay, non traditional careers of all the family members who I have that went to Immaculate, who is in a non traditional career, Renee is one. I should have roped in my sister too, but next time. But yes, and Renee, and just wanted to highlight, guys, because while Renee was talking, I just realized that most, I think, of our panelists are based in Jamaica, right? But not all of them are. I think so far from recollection, I think two are based overseas. So Renee is one of them. So Renee is based in the States. So you would have gone to UA and you did biochem, right?
yeah,
And then you did your master's overseas in the States in instructional design.
yeah.
Right. Jenny, did you get a good enough sense of what an instructional designer does from the conversation?
Right.
Because
I
I,
know she involves a lot of technology, right?
Yes.
Right.
yeah, so, yeah, go ahead.
and just like planning instruction, working alongside faculty members and teachers, right?
Right.
Right.
All right. Yes. So it is, yeah. So it's still education related because she was a teacher first, out of university, bachelor's degree, and then eventually transition. Just another example of how you end up somewhere that you didn't necessarily really start from, but you're clearly in something that is something that you love and you enjoy, and it's great. So thank you so much, Renee. Appreciate your time. I know where you are. You are like an hour ahead of us. So
Mm.
thanks for sticking around because we just have one more guest left. So we're going to say thanks to Renee. And yes, she's in Rosalima. We kept it in the family.
Mhm.
I went just coming to Immaculate. I'm like, I was in Rosalima, put Rosalima up on the paper. So you have a family member in Rosalima. So
And in my time, it was St. Clair's. St. Clair's was
yes, that's what
everything.
I
Food,
remember.
dance,
Yeah.
everything. It was annoying, but yeah.
St. Clair's was the house, it's interesting. And then tech would sometimes come in and do
Hmm.
some stuff. But okay. See, there we go. All right. Thanks again, Renee. So we're
Thank
gonna
you so
invite
much.
Renee to hop off. And then we have our final guest, but certainly by no means least. She's also based overseas. So we thank her very much for joining us because I believe her time zone is like ahead of ours too, I think. I hope, but she will correct me if I am wrong. And she has a lovely smile. I'm going to bring her up right now. Well, let me first of all, we're going to transition away from instructional design at the moment, and we're going to bring up our next guest. And I'm going to hand back over to our wonderful head girl, Janae.
Okay, thank you. And guys, let us welcome Miss Tajan Braithwaite Renderos, right? That's correct?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And she is a leadership development coach. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
Yes, awesome. All right, so what led you to choose this career field?
So the thing about leadership development coaching, or just the field of coaching in general, is that it's a relatively new industry. And so there would have been nobody at the time who could have said, geez, Tajan, based on your skills and your talents, you should be a coach. It just wasn't even an option. So with many of these non-traditional careers, new careers are popping up faster than our education system can map to them.
Right.
So on some level, for careers like this one, you just need to be following the warm trail of your interests. And so if you think of the things that you tend to Google and the things, the people that you tend to follow and the things that you tend to gravitate to. So what started for me was just, I tended to gravitate towards self-help people, following them on my own for my own purposes, but then also following them from the perspective of integrating a lot of what I was learning. So I was always drawn to counseling. I used to be a camp counselor. I've always kind of been drawn to things like that. And so just following that warm trail of my interests landed me there.
Okay, okay. And for those watching, maybe younger girls who are interested in this field, what do you have to do education or training wise in order to get to where you are today?
Okay. So the field of coaching it's an unregulated profession. Nevertheless, there is the largest kind of certifying body that is out there that gives credentials, and that's the International Coach Federation. So most coaches who are out there have some sort of credentialing. And as the industry expands, credentialing is more important. When you think of people like Ian Levan Sant or Tony Robbins, these are folks who are coaches. They're not therapists, they're not consultants, they're working as coaches. So you may have seen that, but essentially a coach is similar to sports coaching. A coach is somebody that's helping to create some kind of transformation that already wants to be made, but you're putting heat to it. Because if I'm Shelly and Fraser Price, you would think, I already know what to run. I already know what I need to do, how I need to train, nutrition, everything. Why she still need a coach? Well, there's another ascension. So coaches are helping you to get there faster than you might on your own.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And what kind of person would be best suited for this role?
I think if you are deeply interested in self-help and deeply interested in helping others, like if you love counseling, if you love helping people at that level, and you don't really see yourself wanting to be a therapist per se, then coaching is a kind of in between. So I may often tell people to therapy who need to be in therapy. So coaching is future oriented and goal oriented, very different from therapy and very different from serving as like a content expert. So you're kind of in the middle. So if you love that advice giving, and or not to say that in coaching you're giving advice, but if you love helping people with profound issues and deep issues, then this could be for you.
Okay, understood, understood. All right, and what's the best thing about working in your field?
I think one of the best things is, like everybody has been saying, you really get to see people's lives change in
Yes, I can
profound
imagine.
ways when you are coaching one-on-one with people, or even coaching within the context of organizations. Because a lot of the work that I do right now as a leadership development coach is combining, say, training and workshops with one-on-one coaches of people managers. So you start to see whole teams that might have been dysfunctional transforming, because people don't leave bad organizations, they leave bad bosses. And so I get to work with these bad bosses, if you will, and or good ones, and help them really improve.
That's amazing. That's really nice. And with that, what's the most challenging aspect? I'm sure you would have had a lot of personality clashes when dealing with these quote unquote bad bosses, but what's really the most challenging part of your job?
Well, ironically, a lot of the bad bosses that might be bad to on their teams, when they're coaching and talking to me, they're shedding all of those layers. So what I end up seeing is the very vulnerable side of them. So
Oh,
yes,
okay.
we're stripping past all of that, and usually they are the most, just like they are the most probably insecure and unconfident underneath all of that bravado, right? So
Right.
I think one of the hard things is working with people who don't want to change, because you do have to want to change something and try on something new and experiment on some level in order for coaching to work. So some people are just uncoachable in that way, and it becomes clear really quickly that coaching is not really for them.
Right. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Of course. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Guys, give it up in the chat for Miss Braithwaite Wenderos. She is a leadership development coach.
Thanks so much, Tajan, another person who volunteered. It's so much easier when you just send out a SOS and folks volunteered. And again, Tajan, you are based overseas, so you're ahead of us right now, right, in terms of time.
Yes, I'm ahead of
Okay. Not hopefully not that much farther ahead, so I'm not keeping you out of bedtime too much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate this conversation because I found that coaching really has taken off. Like in the last 10 years, it's like
Yes.
people who are coaches, if you check them maybe 5, 10 years ago, this wouldn't have even been on their radar. But
100%.
as someone who has benefited from coaching myself, because I've had a couple of awesome coaches or interactions with, it's really something that's super, super valuable. You do work independently, or it's just for organizations?
I do work independently. I do partner with a lot of middlemen organizations that are bridge serving as a bridge between large companies and the coaches out there. But I
Okay.
also do my own coaching directly with organizations and their teams.
Great. So how can we find you? Where can we find you?
On LinkedIn, I will
Okay.
drop my handle in the
In the YouTube live chat, please. Yeah, because we have a few more minutes, so the live will remain active on. Well, once we're live, the live chat will be active. So feel free to jump off and drop it in there. But thank you so much, Tajan. We really appreciate your time and your
Thank you.
participation. And yes, all right. So we are just about at the end, but I did notice a couple of questions in the chat. Janae, I'm gonna find. So I'm gonna bring back on Tracy because one of the questions actually was for Tracy. I'm gonna bring it up here. Hi, Angel. Welcome again. Angel has been conversing with us in the chat, and Angel has asked a question here that we're putting up on the screen. What do you say to people who don't believe in Chinese medicine, right? Having true medical benefit. Great question, Angel. Tracy, over to you.
Okay, sure. It's a great question. I have to say I don't get that question much. Have I ever gotten that question? I get the question, does it work? And that's from people who are actually on the table about to be acupunctured, and I go, really ask me that while I'm putting in needles? But that aside, so it works. And part of why I don't get that question very often is because Chinese medicine has been around for a really long time. And I won't get into it for too long, but Chinese medicine has been around for 3,000 years old. So it's well known. It's known, whereas many people may not have experienced it, people know of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. And so there's more awareness, there is more understanding of what it can do. And so, if a person asks me certain kind of questions, I'll go, if I assume that the question then is, have you had a bad experience? That's not usually the case. It's more a question from a position of, really, does it work? And then there's sufficient research. There is a growing body, and there's a lot of information on the fact that Chinese medicine does work. There is research, there is clinical trials that have spoken to the efficacy of acupuncture, Chinese herbal medicine. The World Health Organization has put out a number of publications on the matter, and I bring up all this kind of information. The training in Chinese medicine is not an undergraduate training, it's a graduate level program. So you do a master's level training, you do a doctoral level training to practice acupuncture and Chinese medicine. There are board exams that you have to do. So the training is rigorous. The research stands by it. The World Health Organization supports it. And these are the things that I bring to bear when I'm answering a question like that.
Awesome. And see your dogs them vex because
I
them
know,
want
right?
know How? They want to know how come they don't get
Ignore
to
them.
join the
Can you hear
live.
them out there?
Well, when you have a lineup of guests broadcasting from Jamaica, right?
I tell you, I tell you, I tell
You
you. And you know,
hear
I'm gonna
all
just
of the
add quickly.
interactions. Huh?
I'll just add quickly that, you know, I often come across people who have had acupuncture or know somebody who have had acupuncture. And so I sometimes don't even have to answer the question sometimes, you know. So yeah, great. They can say, yeah, man, I did acupuncture and it worked and it did this. And I gotta sit back and let people answer the question, you know. So it's good.
Got you, got you,
Yeah.
got you. Well, thanks so much for sticking around, Tracy, and taking that question. Really appreciate it. So, Janae, we are done. We are just
Oh,
about finished.
yes,
This has been a wonderful conversation. I
yes,
mean,
it
we've had
really
a
has.
super panel of about 9 guests, awesome, immaculate alums who are doing wonderfully well in their fields. I mean, when you listen to these ladies, all like Alicia saying she's the first woman who has occupied that role, operations
Right.
manager there as part of the cleanup project for the harbor, which needed, trust me. I mean, it's like, wow, we just have to feel proud as
Yes,
immaculate representatives of the awesome, awesome ICHS. I always say the best high school for girls in
it
Jamaica. Sorry,
is.
don't
Not
at me,
even
but
for
I'm just
girls, just
saying.
in general, the best high school, of
Yeah,
course.
a couple of other high schools will attack us, but it's all good. It's all love. It's all love. But this has really been a great conversation because, as I said, we're trying to have these online conversations. We're streaming live from YouTube, so anybody can watch, and it's about sharing information that we believe students right across Jamaica, including immaculate students, of course, primarily can use as they just chart their path on their journey to becoming phenomenal women. And we're very, very happy. Thank you so much, first of all, to my awesome, awesome panel of alums who answered the call to participate, took time out of their evening, prepared, checked my WhatsApps and my emails as I harassed them on the weekend. Thank you so much, ladies. I very much appreciate your participation. Thank you to your loved ones, the husbands and the loved ones who are cheering you on. Thank you for everybody who joined us for watching and being a part of the conversation, for your engagement in the chat. Thank you so much. Can we give a virtual round of applause in the chat for our panel and our guests? It's really been wonderful. Again, to our panelists, if you want to drop where you can be found in the live chat. If you're on IG, put your handle there while we're still live for the next 60 seconds. Just drop it in there. There are some folks who need to know how to find you. Um, for my lovely, lovely co-host Jenny is a wonderful, wonderful co-host for many reasons. She answered the call at the 9th hour. She helped me to get the word out to the student body. And I mean, I know Jenny from she was in prep school, right? So I'm just feeling super old right now that Jenny is head girl at Immaculate. And I'm like, whoa. But I mean, no surprise, Jenny, you've just always been a wonderful young lady, and it's just
Thank
amazing and
you.
a great opportunity to co host this
Thank you so much.
conversation with you. You took it and you ran with it, and I appreciate that. And
My pleasure.
yes, we are going to have another conversation of a different kind in another couple of weeks. So, folks, again, please subscribe to this channel, ICHS Alumni 876. We are on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can get notified every single time that we go live with these conversations. We're going to wrap up for the summer holidays because let's face it, everybody wants to be summering in summer. But we're definitely going to come back in September. We've done 2 conversations already, so you can check out our YouTube channel under the tab where we had the live recordings. We've done a session on how to study smarter, not harder. Exams are like hair, or for some grades, it's in another 2 weeks. So, how to study smarter, not harder, with ICHS alum Lisa McLean. That was an awesome session that we did, co-hosted with me by Saray, the current Miss Immaculate. So check that out. And then we also did another session with Simone Clark, who spoke about how to plan and achieve your goals and dreams. That was another awesome session that I co-hosted with the former Miss Immaculate. Rachel. So it was really a wonderful, wonderful set of conversations, and we're going to continue. We're going to have one more before the school year ends, and then we'll pick it back up in September. But please subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this channel, share this episode when it's recorded and landed on our YouTube channel with anybody who you think you would find it valuable. And please hit that like button. Let's feed the YouTube algorithm so YouTube knows that we did a good job and gave valuable content, and we can keep the channel alive and going and present. So without further ado, have a happy rest of the week, everybody, and we will see you all again soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye.